Human beings are not blank slates waiting to be written on by society. We come into the world with drives, instincts and fears, but more importantly, with the need to create meaning. Erich Fromm, in Man for Himself, 1947, argued that at the core of every person is a question: how should I live? This question is not answered by religion, politics or culture alone. It is answered by the choices we make, by the way we shape our character. And the tragedy is that most people let the world decide for them. Fromm cuts straight into the heart of modern psychology. People don't merely have a character, they become a character. Our habits, our values, our secret desires, they crystallize into what Fromm called character orientation. And this orientation isn't just about how we behave. It is about how we exist, whether we drain life for ourselves or give life back to the world. He distinguished between productive orientations, where a person creates, loves and grows, and unproductive orientations, where a person only consumes, hoards or dominates. It sounds simple, but Fromm showed how these orientations twist the soul of society. Imagine a man who measures his worth only in possessions, money or power. His relationships turn into transactions. Even his love becomes a bargain. I'll give you something if you give me something back. Fromm saw this as a sickness of modern humanity, the illusion that life is about having, not being. But here's the darker side. Most people never even notice this sickness. They think it's normal to chase wealth, status and control. They think it's natural to envy, to compete, to exploit. Fromm believed this was not human nature at all. It was a distorted character orientation, one that modern capitalism rewards. A man can spend his whole life working, hustling, taking, without ever realizing that he has hollowed out his own soul. He becomes what he owns, and when his possessions disappear, so does his identity. Fromm's insight was ruthless. You can live your entire life and never truly exist. You can build a mask so convincing that even you forget it's fake. People walk through life pretending to be strong, pretending to be secure, pretending to be free. But deep down they feel powerless, and when this inner emptiness becomes unbearable, they reach for substitutes: addiction, conformity, blind obedience, or aggression. Here's the paradox: humans crave freedom, but they fear it. True freedom means responsibility. It means creating your own values and living authentically. Most people don't want that weight, so they submit. They obey authority, follow the herd, or lose themselves in distractions. Fromm exposes the truth that many never admit. Obedience feels safer than freedom. It's easier to conform than to think, easier to obey than to risk standing alone. But Fromm wasn't writing as a cynic. He was writing as a surgeon. His diagnosis was brutal, but his purpose was healing. He insisted that humans are capable of productive love, of creating relationships not based on need or greed, but on growth and respect. Love in this sense isn't just romance. It's the ability to give without losing yourself, to care without controlling, to live without owning. In Man for Himself, he warned that the modern world was producing marketing personalities. People who see themselves as products, always trying to sell an image, always asking, how do others see me? What am I worth on the market? These people may seem successful, attractive, even powerful, but their sense of self is built on sand. Take away the applause, the paycheck, the followers, and they collapse. Fromm's psychology forces us to face the hardest truth. If you don't shape your character, the world will shape it for you. And the world doesn't care about your soul. It only cares about how much you can produce, consume, or obey. So, Man for Himself begins with a challenge. Who are you when you strip away what you own, what you show, and what others expect? Are you alive or are you just functioning? Fromm believed the answer determines not only your fate as an individual, but the fate of humanity itself. If Man for Himself begins with a ruthless diagnosis, it ends with a path forward. Fromm wanted us to confront the sickness of modern life, not to despair, but to rise above it. He argued that human beings are capable of something extraordinary, building a life rooted not in possessions, obedience, or fear, but in authentic being. The key for Fromm was humanistic ethics. That phrase sounds academic, but his meaning was sharp. He believed morality shouldn't come from blind tradition or external authority. It should come from life itself. True ethics are grounded in what allows human beings to flourish, to grow, and to realize their potential. Not commandments written in stone, not laws enforced by fear, but principles born from the reality of what it means to be human. In this sense, good is not what a ruler demands or what a culture dictates. Good is what enhances life, creativity, love, freedom, integrity. And evil is not some supernatural force. Evil is what cripples life: greed, domination, destruction, submission. In other words, your own character becomes the moral compass. The way you orient yourself toward growth or decay, toward being or having, determines whether your life is truly human or tragically wasted. Fromm drew a sharp line between being and having. To have is to treat life as property. I have money, I have knowledge, I have love. But these possessions are fragile. They can be lost, stolen, destroyed. A life built on having is a life built on fear. To be, by contrast, is to live in the fullness of experience. I am creative, I am loving, I am alive. Being cannot be taken from you because it is not a possession. It is your very existence. This, Fromm believed, is the core choice every person must make. Do you cling to life as a hoard of things, or do you live it as an unfolding reality? Do you measure yourself by what you accumulate, or by what you become? But here's the darker twist. Society does everything it can to keep you in the having mode. Modern capitalism depends on it. If people discovered the joy of being, creating, loving, existing, they would consume less, obey less, fear less. The entire system would tremble. So the world drowns you in distractions, advertisements, status games, endless comparisons. You are trained to desire what you don't need and to doubt what you already are. Fromm knew how hard it is to resist this. To live by being, not having, demands courage. It demands freedom, not just from external chains but from internal ones. The fear of standing alone, the terror of being responsible for your own life. Most people run from this responsibility. They choose conformity, they submit to authority, or they lose themselves in addiction. But those who dare to face freedom discover something radical, the possibility of becoming fully human. For Fromm, the productive character is the answer. This kind of person is not defined by what they consume or control, but by what they create and give. They work not to dominate, but to express their energy. They love not to fill a void, but to affirm another's life. They are rooted in reality, but not enslaved by it. To live productively is not to withdraw from the world. It is to engage with it deeply while refusing to be its prisoner. Fromm's vision was demanding, but it was also hopeful. He believed that if enough people embraced being over having, productive love over destructive greed, humanity could avoid self-destruction. But he also warned that time was short. A world obsessed with having inevitably spirals toward violence, war, and despair. To choose being is not just a personal choice. It is a survival strategy for the species. In the end, Man for Himself is not a comfortable book. It does not flatter us, or excuse us, or promise easy solutions. Instead, it forces us to look at the truth, that our lives are our own responsibility, and that every day we decide whether we are truly alive or merely functioning. Fromm leaves us with a challenge that feels just as urgent now as it did in 1947. Will you live as a mask, a consumer, a servant of fear? Or will you risk the terrifying freedom of being fully human? Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.